balance all this stuff? You guys are still, running major teams. You're trying to build, running the fast from, like, is it just systems in place? Is it staffing? Like, you just went to Cabo with the team. You were on vacation with the family. It's like, it's crazy. Like, we see agents that do way less business time, way less going on, but we're running around with their head chopped off. And then you guys are over here going on vacations. They're talking about going on your 40th birthday. So, like, how do you manage, like, all these moving parts, traveling and all that stuff?
Leverage, yeah. For sure. I think there's a point you have to make a conscious decision of, I am going to make X dollars this year. And you have to commit to not doing anything that's not in alignment with that level of income. And
so money's the first thing you...
Yeah, I mean, you got to just, like, and I've heard a lot of people talk about this recently that have made the shift to luxury. Like, how do you become a luxury agent? You decide to be one. Mm-hmm. Like, that's how you decide to be a luxury agent. You decide, I am no longer selling homes here in San Diego, under $1 million, maybe. That's your number, right? Like, I don't screw with under $1 million or $2 million, or you want to go ultra luxury. I was listening to Ben Bacall up in LA. He's like, I don't want to do anything under $10 million anymore. And I'll refer anything under 10 million, I'm referring it out, because I am an ultra luxury agent. Like, that's a decision you make. You can make that same decision with your income.
Yeah.
And when you make that decision, let's assume that decision is you want to make $1 million. Okay, if you're going to make $1 million, you have to make that decision. Then how many hours are you going to work that year? Easy way to do it is just go 2,000. That's 40 hours a week times 50 weeks. Obviously, you're probably not going to work 40 hours a week. You might have 50-hour weeks, but then you can take a few more days off or whatnot. But you make that decision. So if it's $1 million, divide that by 2,000, your hourly is 500. So you have to now make that decision. If an activity does not generate $500 an hour, I don't do it.
Yeah.
And as soon as you make that determination, you start leveraging people to do those things for you. That's how you get to that next level, is you have to let go of things, and you have to realize that you are not the best at everything, right? Like, when you list a property, do you go and shoot the photos? Do you go shoot the videos? Do you go do the home inspection? Do you do everything? Like, you don't, right? Like, you let people do that stuff for you. Why the hell are you out, like, dropping flyers at doorsteps, right? Like, let that go. And so people a lot of times in their head, they'll be like, well, I'm doing this and I don't have to pay somebody $20 an hour to do it. So I'll do it myself. So I save $20 an hour. You did save $20 an hour. But if your time is worth $500 an hour, you also lost $500.
Yeah.
So the net effect was a negative $480. But most people aren't thinking like that. Their mindset is, I saved $20.
Instead of
they're forgetting about the fact the $500 they lost, which is a net $480 negative. You have to just make that decision. Like, this is where I am, and I don't do this shit anymore. I only do this shit. And as soon as you make that conscious decision, that's how you get to that next level, I think.
Yeah, but people are just afraid that they're not, whoever they place doing that are just not going to do whatever it is better than them. And you take something as simple as, like, setting signs. I actually think that I can set signs better. I really just do. Okay, if you really send me out there,
you can. Your signs are a little rough. I'm just gonna say
they're horrible right now.
They leaning?
No, there's a whole mess. The
they're
entire
like
thing.
They're the opposite of the pants. He went too big. He went too big on the signs. He went too small on the pants.
Everything about them right now. But imagine the design issues and the stake issues were solved, which they will be shortly. I actually think I can place them in a
better location.
I just do. I really do.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I can place them better. And seriously, like, whatever agent's thinking that way probably is right. But the issue is, are you okay with not going from incredible placement to shit placement? No, none of us are going to accept that. But are you okay with going from incredible placement to really good placement?
Yeah.
And if you're okay with that, you're going to be able to free yourself in such an amazing way. Like, I was in Phoenix, just to give you a less ridiculous example, but that is a real example. I was in Phoenix speaking to a group of realtors, and somebody was talking about their relationships with their clients, and how do you hold your relationships? How do you have such good relationships with or how can you, I feel like that would suffer. I'm like, listen, you probably have better relationships with your clients. You probably do. Now, I have really good relationships. We take them here and we take them there, and we rent out these theaters, and we go to wine tasting, and we do this, and we have the happy hour, and I send them gifts quarterly, and I do this and I do that. But you probably do. At the end of the day, if we looked at the average relationship, you probably have this relationship and I have this one. Now, the cost of this little tiny change is you have no freedom and I have all I want.
Yeah.
And so if you can just be good with that, you can still demand really, really good. if you're willing to just make that small shift, you never accept poor, you never accept average. But if you're willing to make that tiny shift, your freedom doesn't just shift by that tiny amount. Your freedom can exponentially change.